Chapter 2. A Neighbor in Trouble. The three spies arrived back at Universal Exports, home to MI6. They walked into Q Branch to return the supplies. Q immediately walked over to them in disgust.
Bah! When will any of you learn? You are tracking snow and wetness into my lab. Won't any of you grow up?
Bond stepped up to Q and put his arms around him.
Now, Q, no need to get heated up. Chill out, cool down. What did you expect when you get back from a skiing vacation?
Not funny, 007. 0030, where's the bomb helmet?
Up in smoke? Q rolled his eyes and stormed off.
At least it worked.
The spies continued to take off their snow clothes. They exited Q Branch and continued on to M's office. 00 Sleddy was slightly ahead of Bond and 57, giving her the chance to pull Bond aside.
I've got to help Q test some new equipment. I just left. What are you up to? There are still some things I don't know about you. On the contrary, Bond, you have almost seen everything there is to know about me.
Bond smiled at 57's comment.
How about dinner tonight? How about dinner or date?
I can work with that.
You know, I am still a little cold. Would you mind holding me tight, so that all the way home I can be warm? As long as you love me so.
Bond leaned in to kiss 57. 00 Sleddy had realized that his fellow spies were not behind him, and soon leaned against a wall with his arms folded. He started tapping his fingers on one of his arms and one of his feet against the ground. 57 soon headed back to Q Branch. Bond then continued down the hall with 00 Sleddy.
Can I just ask a question? How in the world do you do that?
What you should be asking is just how do I do that, but the world is not enough.
But, I mean, every time. I don't know how long you've been at this. Let's say 50 years?
50? How old do you think I am?
I'm not sure. I can never tell. Anyway, every time a woman comes into the picture, you feel like you're obliged to date her. Heck, you were even married. That still didn't stop you. Bond then stopped in the middle of the hallway and looked coldly into 00 Sleddy's eyes.
You know, sometimes one can step too far,
he said in a monotone voice. Bond then continued on, and 00 Sleddy followed, slowly. They approached M's outer office where the lovely Miss Moneypenny was typing away.
Hello, James. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Moneypenny, they both replied.
She seems to be in quite a mood. I would be cautious about entering. Seems like your vacation was more of a test.
A test of what, Moneypenny? 00 Sleddy asked.
A test of how well you two work together.
Moneypenny, dear, Daniel and I have been doing this for quite a while. You know that. I think we can handle it.
Can you defend an entire country against your own queen and country, James?
Moneypenny said sheepishly as she looked into Bond's eyes. Bond started to move his eyes and then his head. He eventually turned to look back at 00 Sleddy and smiled. He then turned back to Moneypenny.
Have I ever told you that I love what you did to your hair? Red is in.
Moneypenny smiled and chuckled quietly. 00 Sleddy then cleared his throat. Hello, can we get a move on, please? Bond walked away from Moneypenny as she went back to typing, blushed, and still smiling.
Style was always a strong suit of yours, James. Every one of them,
Bond said back. The spies continued into M's office. Inside the office, a desk sat with a tall, comfortable chair. The chair was facing away from the door and from the desk. The spies sat down, and a voice came from the chair.
You're late.
Bond and 00 Sleddy smiled nervously.
When I received news about your incident, I needed you to report in immediately. I thought you would have the mindset to come in, file in a report right away, and tell me about it.
The chair then turned to reveal M.
But apparently not.
Ma'am, I can explain. Bond stepped on 00 Sleddy's foot.
However, he can't at this time.
When I first came here, I couldn't believe that they would call me in to be a placeholder for this organization. But when I found out that I would be working with two of the most decorated and successful agents ever, I considered it. Now I see that the two of you are just underwhelmed buffoons.
Bond and 00 Sleddy looked at each other in shock, but did not dare say a word.
No matter. You both are still this agency's best, and your next assignment is ready for you. You may have remembered that, thanks to Moneypenny giving me the report from Agent 57, one of the men had put a sort of threat towards the country of Ireland. I'm sending the two of you to keep an eye on things. We also got the results of 57's pictures.
Pictures, ma'am? Double Slutty questioned.
Yes, I do believe you know what a picture is, don't you?
Never mind the picture. How did the report get here so fast?
Bond argued.
Please, 007, I do believe you have heard of a fax.
And I do think I was once called a dinosaur,
Bond whispered. M did nothing but stare coldly at Bond and Double Slutty.
Besides the point, M said, raising her voice. We analyzed one of the pictures and saw this symbol.
She flipped a switch on her desk and the room dimmed. A projection was shown on a screen of the symbol that M was describing. It was a shamrock, split in half, surrounded by a dark circle.
This was on one of the shoulders of the men's outfits. We ran it through our research development at Q Branch. He'll have more information.
Double Slutty and Bond nodded. M turned off the projector and put her hand on her forehead.
All I can guess is that our neighboring country of Ireland is in dire trouble at being non-existent.
With all the pushback from Northern Ireland, isn't it already on shaky ground?
Potentially.
So, you could almost say that when Irish eyes are killing,
Bond replied. M looked up at Bond, not impressed.
May I suggest that you get a move on?
M waved her hand and the spies got up and started to leave the office.
007, a minute,
M called. Bond led his partner out the door and then closed it behind him. He went back to M.
I must tell you, I do apologize for being so rough and serious. Ever since my relative's death, I have never been able to control myself. I still couldn't believe that MI6 called me to replace the current while he was on reprieve.
It's quite all right. To be honest, it brings back a sort of feelings around here that we haven't seen for a while. Believe me, losing a loved one is only too recognizable around here.
Bond then came behind the desk and gave M a peck on the cheek.
007, out!
Bond backed away quickly and smiled at M as he closed the door. He then said a fast goodbye to Moneypenny and scurried himself and his partner out of the outer office.